Okay, let's see. Hey there, everybody. Welcome to Spiritual Business Hour with Crystal Lynn Bell. I'm Crystal Lynn and I'm here. So, my question for you is what is your process for helping people? How do you help people? Do you have a framework that you use? Uh, a lot of you went to coaching school and they taught you how to ask questions. And then you got into the real world and you realized that coaching is a lot more than just asking questions, right? And so you started to develop your own framework. You noticed that people responded well when you did this. And so then you started making that a thing that you did on a regular basis with your clients. I remember when I started, I used to ask my clients, the very first thing I would ask them is, how do you feel? And they would give a response. And then we would kind of use that as the direction that would take us where we needed to go for those particular days. And behind all that, though, I had a framework that I used. It was light work, shadow work, and healing. And those three things I would bring together for people, and it was always very, very powerful. So I'm asking, do you have a process that you use to help people? And do you believe that your process is worth documenting? Today, I'm going to be talking to you about claiming and naming your intellectual property. So, there are a lot of you who are out there and you're giving away most of your valuable business assets every single day, and you don't even realize that it's an asset. I'm talking about that framework that you use to guide your clients through transformation. That's an asset. I'm talking about also the unique sequence of questions that you ask that consistently produces breakthroughs. I'm especially talking to you about like the way you hold a container that creates the conditions for your clients to change. You've been putting together, and it doesn't matter whether you're a new coach or a seasoned coach, every step that you're taking is a process of adding to and assembling an entire body of knowledge. And if you've been at this for a while, like for me, I've been at this since 2011, so that's 15 years, right? It's a long time. There's a lot of knowledge, practice, study, and more than anything, personal experience that has come together to create an energy of capability. And it's a capability that is unique to me, just like you have a capability that is unique to you. All of it is being delivered in our sessions. It's also, though, being delivered through the content that we share on social media. It's also offered in conversations that we have amongst ourselves. When I get together with my coaching friends and we talk shop. They're sharing their processes with me. I'm sharing their processes with them. But none of it is actually being documented. None of it's being protected. And what's maybe worse is that it's not really being brought into a business structure that generates income from it independently of your continual personal presence. Like you have to be present the whole time in order to deliver it. I've just written my first book to be published, and let me tell you something. Getting this book published is a thing. It's not an ebook, it's a real book. It's got paper. There were trees that are going into this book. Trees and ink and hands and delivery. And it is very, very real and important. It's important. My philosophy matters. So I documented it and I'm getting it printed and I'm investing thousands of dollars to make sure that it gets into the hands of the people that I know can use it and will benefit from it. So intellectual property is real property. I remember taking this class with a woman who dealt with real estate and she wanted to kind of shift into working more broadly. So she was like a real estate coach for realtors. And she wanted to bring her wisdom to regular people. And she kept making real estate samples. Like she'd use an example of something and it was something from real estate. And what I realized is that actually, like real estate and intellectual property are the same thing. One is just intangible until you make it tangible. And that was eye-opening for me. Real estate, intellectual property is real property. So a business that is built on unclaimed intellectual property is a business that cannot really be scaled or protected. And it can't really generate the kind of compounding income that makes claiming and naming possible. You really kind of really need to have, I said that wrong. I want to say that claiming and naming make the income possible. Welcome to the Spiritual Business Hour. I'm a spiritual business mentor and I guide women through the process of building coaching businesses that are grounded in their unique philosophy, built from their hard-earned wisdom, and designed to produce lavish, sustainable income. I'm hosting the Liberated Coach Summit next week. It starts on Monday, August 3rd. And in it, we're going to be exploring the difference between who you are right now and who you need to be in order to actually have that business rooted on intellectual property, because that's what you need in order to be a coach. You want to be good at what you do, right? And I know that when I say that to people, oh, I want to be, and they say it back to me, I want to be good at what I do. Yeah, I want to be a great coach. But you also need to know that you are good at building your business and running it. And look, this doesn't just happen. No one's going to give you a turnkey coaching business. Even if they did, even if the best coach came to you, even if Tony Robbins came to you and is like, hey, have my business, you know, turnkey. It's got team, it's got followers. If you don't have it within yourself to build that business, to put it out there, to grow it, to nurture the key assets of that business, key asset being your philosophy, your intellectual property, your framework. If you're not going to document that, if you're not showing the world the value that you place on your work, on what you offer. And that's a tragedy, because to go through your life, um, I'm going to pause because yesterday, who was I talking to? Was I talking to my mentor? Was it my mentor who said this? Oh, no, I was talking to my book publicist, and he was saying, he said, Crystalline, I just love what you've built, and you've been doing it for so long. You have resilience. And he said, like only 5% of the people who start businesses actually follow through and create a successful business. They don't get past, some don't make it past year one. Most don't make it past year three, and it's rare for them to make it up to year five. And I thought, yeah, I got resilience. I got resilience, but I also have a vision. So a great business starts with a powerful self-concept, and that's what we're going to be talking about and addressing in the Liberated Coach Challenge next week. It's free to join. Use the links in the caption or the comments. All right. And join me. It's absolutely free, but we're going to be working on you. We're not even going to, we're going to deal with your business, but first we're going to deal with the business woman, the woman inside the business. So your intellectual property, let's get back into the thing that I came here to talk about, your intellectual property. So intellectual property is not what you know, because that's in your head. What you know is in your head. You don't own what's in your head. Because everybody, when you put it out of your head and you say, oh, this is how you help a person transform, when you say it, it's out in the world. It's no longer yours. You're no longer in possession of it. You've just given it away. Intellectual property is the specific, structured, named, and documented way that you apply what you know to produce a specific result for a specific audience. And that distinction is really important because knowledge is common. Every coach in any kind of coaching, part of coaching, has access to the same knowledge that you and I have. We all have this access to the same knowledge. What's not common, what can't be replicated, and what constitutes real intellectual property is the methodology, the framework, and the perspective that is yours. Okay? The thing that you do that produces the results that you produce. And it's organized and expressed in a way that is really different than what everybody else is doing. And when that thing is identified, it's documented, it's named, and it's built into your business structure, it really becomes so powerful. It can be really one of your most powerful revenue generating assets. And if you take it far, it can be taught to other people. You can certify people in it. You can license it. You can publish it. You can monetize it. You can put it in many different forms. And that goes far beyond just you helping individual people in the way that you help them. And there's nothing wrong with you helping individual people, but we really need to be thinking bigger than, oh, if I just help one person. How many times have you heard that said? How many times have you said that? If I could just help one person, if I could just help 10 people, then I'd be doing my job, because those 10 people could go out and help 10 more people. But actually, that's pretty limited thinking. It's pretty small. So what I want to do is look at the identity that you're carrying that makes you kind of say things like, oh, I'm going to just help one person. So, and I want to make sure, actually, I better have some water. It's hot. It's hot in California. It's hot in California and I'm under this air conditioner. I'm not complaining though about the AC because in Paris, they ain't got no AC. So, yeah. So anyway, intellectual property, it's not that, okay, it's not that women fail to document their methodology because they don't have time. Like, oh, I don't have time to document my methodology. I think it's that they don't document it because some part of them doesn't actually believe that what they're doing is worth documenting. And I get that. I get that, but it's not really true. I think so many of us feel like, oh, we do what we do. I'm just doing this thing. Like I was watching, I'm so sorry, let me think about this for a moment because I was just having this conversation with someone. Was it with my aunt? She was cooking. Oh, when my aunt cooks sweet potato pies, she uses her instinct and she just gets it done, right? And if she wanted to, and that's fine, she's my aunt cooking me sweet potato pie. But if she wanted to be Patti LaBelle, would need to, because Patti LaBelle's got sweet potato pies. Just in case you didn't know, Patti LaBelle has her own sweet potato pies and she sells them. You can buy them at Walmart and they're delicious. Very, 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 very sweet, Ms. LaBelle. You could cut back and use only half that sugar, and I think we'd be okay. All right. We'd be better off if you cut back on half that and cut it back to half that sugar. We'd be just fine. But the difference between my aunt and Patti LaBelle is that Patti LaBelle is a corporation and she makes a lot of money doing what she does. Okay. The problem is that you might have the perspective of my aunt. My aunt is a beautiful, lovely woman, by the way, but she sees herself as making sweet potato pie for her family in this moment. And you might see yourself doing coaching for this client in the moment. And what I'm saying is that I want you to take on a bigger perspective because you could be helping more people. The more you broaden your perspective of who you are, the more people that you can help. So a lot of coaches like you just assume that what comes naturally to you just kind of comes naturally to everybody. And you might be looking at your framework, your way of doing things, and you see something that's just like obvious, like, oh, this is obvious. You do shadow work. It's obvious. This is how you meditate. It's obvious. This is how you calm your mind. It's obvious. This is how you do shadow work. Not really. It's not obvious. People don't know that. You know that. And that's unique, right? So you kind of give it away freely. You might be teaching it in passing. You share it, but you don't provide a real structure to it, and you go from one client to the next client without ever really stopping to say like, wait, what am I doing? Why does it work? And how can I replicate this? And how can I teach it to other people? And how can I certify other people to teach my method in this way? And here's the thing I want you to be careful of, my friend. It is not humility that makes you kind of hold back. It's a small thinking identity that's kind of costing you money and time and magnificence. So having a belief that what you carry is ordinary, replaceable, available from any other practitioner or AI. This is another thing I hear a lot from people. Oh, well, AI does this. I don't think I need to be a coach. Actually, AI does not do it. At least not yet. Maybe in the future, but not right now. I don't care what they claim. AI makes a lot of mistakes. I was just having a conversation with AI and it started going off on this thing. And I'm like, that's not how that works in the human world. Like, oh, yeah, that makes sense from a book perspective, but from the human perspective, that is not how that works. So I'm just saying that that's a conversation for another day, by the way. We will do that. We'll do another AI episode soon. Um, but my point is that you you're making yourself smaller by assuming that everybody can do what you do, and they cannot. You are unique. You're not like everybody else. And The business that you are meant to be built, the business that wants to come through you is not about, it's not the obvious business, you know, like that's not genius. Genius is the woman who wakes up to the gift that she has and then steps into that and then creates something monumental for it. And I'm all about that. The Lionsgate portal is right now, and it's a cosmic design that illuminates this. So we have Sirius, which is our kind of spiritual sun. It's the star of higher consciousness and expanded awareness. So it's rising right now. I'm saying that it's rising, but it's being really illuminated, and it's creating this kind of synergy with our sun. And so it's illuminating what is hidden in you and me. And the thing to understand is that this is not a weakness, okay? It is what's extraordinary about us, and it's an opportunity to step into it. Lionsgate is an opportunity for you to stop treating yourself as small and then to start treating yourself as incredibly significant. All right. Okay. So let me give you some of the tips that I wanted to share with you. I wanted to give you a few steps for how to like start stepping into claiming your intellectual property. So step one would be to like really identify what is yours. So many coaches can't really say what is theirs because they haven't looked at it. That's all. The only thing is that it's there. You just think it's not there, so you haven't looked at it. And so what I want you to do is to start looking at your results, the specific transformation that your clients consistently experience. And those transformations are going to be internal and external. So some of the things will be like, oh, I felt better. I stopped being afraid. I started setting boundaries. My husband started listening to me. That's external, actually. So the internal might be something like, I started feeling more confident. I started asking for what I want. And then the external might be my husband started, flirting with me more, and my boss gave me a job, and the people at work started treating me differently, right? So internal and external transformations. Now, from there, you're going to work backward. What specifically did you do to help them get that result? What was the sequence? What was the framework? What was the particular like combination of questions and perspectives and um, exercises? What was the combination that you used? What kind of interventions did you create that produce these kinds of conditions for transformation? Write it down because it might seem like just natural to you, but it's not just natural. And the thing is, even if, let's say that everybody knows how to do this inside themselves, what's amazing is that when you see something written about it, it takes it to another level. So what is inside you? You need to write it down and take it to another level, because you won't know what level it'll go to until you write it down. So that's the first thing. Now, the next thing is to document what you've discovered. You're going to reverse engineer and you're going to actually write it down. You're going to make it tangible. What's in your head can be pretty nebulous sometimes, especially if you're spiritual and woo-woo and you're using kind of things that you can't measure to bring forward your transformation in people. Like Reiki, you can't really measure Reiki, but what you can do is this. You can say something like, well, before I do Reiki, what I do is I sit down and I journal, or I focus on my clients, I light some incense, and I take out my journal and I start writing about the client, and I write about the things that I learned about them, what they said they want. And then what I do is I just put down the pen and I sit and I close my eyes and I just meditate. And while I'm meditating, I feel myself breathing in and breathing out. And I notice that I start to relax my shoulders, and then my heart begins to slow. And then I can see visions, and there are all these kinds of lovely impulses that rise up inside me. So, what I'm doing is describing the process that I experience before I do Reiki with a client. And writing that down becomes a process, right? Because what you're going to notice is you do the same thing every time. At least I do. I sit down before I'm going to do a Reiki session. I sit down, I clear everything, turn off the phone, boom, light a candle, put the journal here. I wait, I listen, I breathe, I feel my body. That is a process. That is your intellectual property once it gets written down. And then the more you write, the more it starts to take shape. You start creating a methodology, then it becomes the framework. And to be honest with you, I call this genius. That is the genius working through you, and it wants to be named and claimed by you. This is so important, my friends. So important. So, those specific steps, the principles you experience, the questions that come up in you, the questions that you ask your clients, those questions that you ask clients, like I'm creating workbooks all the time. Those questions are money. I've had people do a workbook with me and they write back and they are like, Crystal Lynn, that workbook opened up so much inside me. I I feel like I'm transformed just from doing the first three questions. That is powerful. You do that too. I know I'm not the only one that does it because I've had that experience from coaches who took the time to document and put things out there, not just to make a video and just be like, oh, I'm just going to make this video on the fly, but no, to actually take that information that's in the video and document it, put it into some form. I think this is incredibly, incredibly important. All right, step 3, of course, you know it, name it and claim it. So a methodology without a name is just some ether. It's just thoughts, all right? I want you to have deep understanding about yourself and what you're doing. Naming and claiming your methodology is a way to bring yourself to the market in a way that the world can understand you, in a way that you can be received. And if you take it seriously enough, you'll have legal protections around your intellectual property. My book publisher is like, you have to go and get your copyright. First she said, because I'm doing my own publishing, so she's doing the publishing process for me, but we're publishing it under my company name. She says you have to buy your ISBNs. And she's like, you might want to buy a block of them. And I'm like, what? This is so sexy. It's so sexy to be taking my ideas so seriously that I actually have to have an ISBN. I don't even know what that is. That I have to actually go to the Library of Congress and like register my book. Yes, this is so cool, man. So I want you to have the same feeling, my friend. I want you to name your framework, name the process, name the specific approach that is yours. And you don't have to be fancy. It doesn't have to be elaborate. It just needs to be specific enough to be associated with you, and it needs to be distinctive enough to make it protectable. Okay, so once it is named, you're going to use it in your content, in your sales conversations, in your offers, and in your marketing. And you're going to do that with a sense of love and a sense of pride. And you're going to share that with the world. And I want you to understand this is not a luxury for coaches who have made it, like those coaches who have gone already to the top. No, you get to the top by taking you and this process seriously. You're going to build, you're going to build for yourself real value by embracing the gift that you are, right? And your gift is you and your processes. All right, my friend, let's go on to the last step, which is step 4. You're going to build multiple revenue streams from the same body of work. Now, this is the best part, best for last, saving the best for last. You're going to build multiple income streams from the same body of work. So when you have real ownership, you can turn that into income. So that same methodology that is in your coaching program, like for one-on-one private people, can also exist in a group program. It can exist in a self-study program. It can exist in a certification for other practitioners. Um, it can exist in a book. It can be a topic that you tour the country speaking about. It can be a workshop or a retreat that you host in Bali or in Hawaii or in Aspen, Colorado. It can be turned into a curriculum that you promote through different organizations, even to schools, right? And it can even be like a licensed framework that people have to buy licenses from you on a yearly basis. It can be branded. So each one of these things is a different kind of a revenue stream, and it's built on the same intellectual property. Sometimes you hear that called leveraging, right? And the thing to understand is that each one generates income independently of you having to personally deliver it. And that is the most important thing. A coach who has identified, documented, named, and claimed her intellectual property is not trading dollars for hours for dollars anymore. She's built an asset that generates income in different forms across different channels and from one single body of work that she owns completely and that nobody else can replicate or replace. All right, my friends, that is it for us at the Spiritual Business Hour today. I hope this message resonates with you. I hope it touches you in the deepest part of your soul because it is such an important message. And you need to hear it because you need to take action on it. I want this for you from the bottom of my heart. All right, sign up for the Liberated Coach Challenge. There's a link below. Um, yeah. All right, I'm going to go ahead and sign off. Bye for now, my friend. Mwah. Bye, and thanks for watching. Hey, by the way, please share this video with a friend. All right, share it on your page, on your Facebook page, share the YouTube channel, share it, get the word out because women coaches need to know this stuff. All right, thanks so much. Bye for now. Bye.